And a very warm welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing channel for the fourth round of the season here in our F1 2020 Championship. We are here at Shanghai, China for the latest instalment of the season, and we've got an absolute cracker in store for all of you guys here watching live on the Motive Racing channel. One of the more exciting tracks here is Shanghai in the F1 calendar. Plenty of spots for overtaking, especially at the end of the long straight coming up towards the hairpin in the final sector, as well as turn one, and also a few twists and turns at the beginning of the first sector, which is going to definitely catch a lot of drivers out tonight. So we're looking forward to an absolutely phenomenal evening of racing. Big warm welcome to Sergus Hand in the comments saying hi everyone, hope to see a great race here. Absolutely, Sergus, I'm sure the guys are going to deliver. But big warm welcome to the 9 people already watching live on the channel as well. Please guys, drop a like on this video, and if you're watching this for the first time here at Motive Racing, then make sure you subscribe. Join us at motiveracing.com, and that is where you can get involved in the action, as we're currently seeing Unorthodox setting the pace here at the top of this leaderboard. He's sat on a 1 minute 31.9 at the moment. Unorthodox really is getting some absolutely stonkers in the early stages of this session. Manu currently sat in second, both those guys coming into the pits. Then we've got Gary 131 sat in third at the moment in this qualifying classification. Gary has had a bit of a topsy-turvy season so far in the F1. He's had some high points, obviously the third place at Bahrain being the standout performance here of his season so far. We're putting an absolutely excellent display, and almost managed to nab just Jose at the end of that race, but since then he's failed to finish in 2 of the races. Obviously at Australia he DNF'd, and last time out of Vietnam, sorry, actually came 8th the last time out of Vietnam, so not the best of results, but he'll be looking to respond this time around. He's currently sat 3rd at the moment in this qualifying session, but this man Unorthodox sat at top of the leaderboard right now. He comes into this one sat down in 8th place in the championship standings, but he really seems to have got it together here. He's running on the Red Mark soft tyres for tonight, for this qualifying session, which will definitely give him a bit of an advantage over the guys on the mediums. You see there Manu, Gary, Gold Standard, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, all running on the medium tyres in this qualifying session, so they will definitely be losing a bit of pace on those, but Gary currently making the most of it right now, only 1.3 seconds off of that fastest time being set by Unorthodox. As we see there, a little bit of a gaggle of cars there just coming out onto the long back straight. It looks like a lot of drivers sat in the pits, so you got Unorthodox, Manu, Gold Standard, Spider-Man, Matahimovic and Penguin do both on their outlaps right now, so they're hoping to get some more laps in. Matahimovic, Gary's teammate, only a 10th behind him in terms of their actual lap times, but you can see there 3 places separate them, so the pack is really bunched up between 2nd and 6th places right now, and it's Unorthodox who really has managed to put a bit of a gap between himself and the other guys. So Dan currently setting an absolute scorching pace and still sat in the pits, so he clearly reckons he's done enough. As we see Gary backing off a little bit there, just coming through the final sector, so he's obviously trying to get track position, making sure he's got enough space in front of him to really go hell for leather on this upcoming flying lap, as he's just coming into the pits actually. So Gary backing out of that one, not quite sure what's going on there, but he's obviously not happier with something to do with the car. As we're watching Matahimovic, Gary's teammate, looks like he's trying to get around a Ferrari right now, which would appear to be Spider-Man. So Spider-Man currently sat in P5 in this session right now. Actually, him and Matt pretty close in the leaderboard. Spider-Man last time out at Vietnam actually finished in 11th place. Still yet to score his first point for this season, is Spider-Man, so he'll be wanting to get off the mark as soon as he can. Obviously missed the first round at Australia, so he's already on the back foot, but 23 round season here at Motive Racing, so there's still plenty of time for anybody in this championship to get themselves on that leaderboard and get themselves high up that leaderboard. Seeing a few comments coming in on the YouTube comment section right now. Matthew Duffin, otherwise known as Matahimovic, our regular commentator for the Clios and the touring cars, and also out on track right now driving in the racing point, says evening all, welcome along Matt, good to have you in the comments as well as out on the track. Sergus Han in the comments, will be commentating alongside myself tomorrow night over on Project Cars 2 for our GT3s, says again not so many drivers there. 15 drivers on the track right now, Sergus. We will have 17 on the grid once we get going for the race. We've got 2 drivers waiting to get involved, so hopefully that will get sorted out ASAP. JR Sim Racing says love the long looping right hander onto the straight, also pit entry trickier pushing. Absolutely, JR. That long looping right-hander coming out onto the back straight is going to be crucial to getting the overtakes done, because if you can get a nice run out of there, you also get DRS down that straight as well. So you want to be within that 1 second window, or you want to be considerably within that 1 second window, ideally within about half a second to be sure. But yeah, it's plenty of very tricky but inviting corners around this track. They really do entice you in and force you to commit yourself into them, and sometimes you can end up losing out a little bit. Sometimes you can look like a master by doing it, as we see just Jose there joining the session a little bit late, but he's managed to get in. Our championship leader here has managed to find his way into the session. Just Jose there, looks like he's in the pits right now. Let's see what Unorthodox is up to. He's just coming through the first or end of the first sector now by the looks of it. Matahimovic has got within a tenth of a second of Unorthodox, so Matahimovic really flying right now around this Shanghai circuit tonight in that racing point. His teammate Gary a little way off of him, currently in fourth, but Matahimovic really finding pace tonight. He's absolutely ragging that racing point around. You don't want to be ragging F1 cars around too much, because that can cause you some pretty severe consequences, but Matt's currently doing a great job right now. Sat in second place. Can he manage to put himself up above Unorthodox on this lap? I'm not sure if he's going to be able to on this lap. It looks like his time's a little bit down on what it would need to be. He's already on a 1:30 and he's not even around the last corner, so this won't be the fastest lap for Matahimovic, and in fact he's bringing it into the pits, so he's obviously making changes on that car. He's got about 4 minutes left in the session, so he really needs to get in and out in order to get another lap time in this session before we go to the race. So Unorthodox currently sat on provisional pole. This man's coming over the line and he improves his time there by even further, so he's got that Renault absolutely nailed down here around the Shanghai International Circuit. Unorthodox there on a 1:31.6. That is an absolute scorcher there from him. 3/10 clear of Matahimovic. He seems to have something around this track that the others just don't seem to have right now. Really has got into a groove and found a way around this circuit, as we see him just warming up his tyres before I'm assuming he's backed out of this one, and he's going to go for one final push after this particular lap that we see him on right now. But Matahimovic in the pits making changes to the car. Manu likewise. Manu, Gary and Gold stand at 3rd, 5th, 4th and 5th on the medium tyres, so that's pretty important to note. They will be able to go longer into the first stint of the race. Unorthodox and Matahimovic really going for out and out qualifying speed here in this session. And obviously it's showing, because they've got quite a long gap back to Manu, Gary and Gold Standard. Spider-Man currently sat in 6th at the moment in this session. He's running on the soft tyres, the red marked compound. Sat 1.6 seconds off of the fastest time, being set by Unorthodox. There's Keegs just coming into the pits right now, driving in the Haas. 7th place at the moment in this session, also on the soft tyres. Penguin Dude sat in 8th place, running on the softs as well. Just under 2 seconds off of that time, being set by Unorthodox. Leon Fernie sat in 9th place right now. Looks like he's got a little bit wide there, getting out of the way of those guys driving in the Merc AMG. Leon Fernie, likewise Emo Guy, who was his teammate. Looks like NJ's just on an outlap right now in the Williams. A little way off the top time. NJ also running on the soft tyres. Jaffa Cake looks like he's just coming through the first sector now, to the end of the first sector. I think Green Pies has crashed out of qualifying, because he has his name's sort of been blotched out a little bit, so I think Green Pies will be starting at the back of this race. But crucially, his championship rival just Jose also starting at the back, so it's not going to be as compromising as it could have been potentially if that hadn't happened, as we see a couple of more guys just jumping into the lobby now. So it looks like we're going to have a 19 driver grid for this race, with one driver who told us we couldn't make it for tonight, and that was Prouty. So Prouty will not be on the grid tonight, but we should have 19 drivers here, so we're very much looking forward to an exciting race. And it looks like Gary has just gone P1 there. What a lap time from Gary. Was trying to do some laps on the medium tyres, in the end thought better of it, switched to the softs, and look at that, he's really got a fantastic result out of switching to the soft tyres. He's currently sat on a 1:31.2. Gary 1:31, currently the man to beat at the moment in this session. Looks like Redding has left the session, so I don't know why, but he won't be able to join back, because invites are disposable on F1 2020. So I think that is that for his hopes of racing here at Shanghai tonight. It would have been his debut at Motive Racing. Unorthodox currently P2, obviously was at the top of the leaderboard for a while here in this session. Can he get himself back up to the top of the order before the end of this one? He's only going to really get one chance after the lap he's currently on. Matahimovic, teammate of the current provisional pole sitter Gary, currently coming through the first or middle sector now actually. really has got so much speed in that racing point. And also Matimovic, it's good to see him out on track. As always, I always mention this every single week, but it is great to see him managing to get himself out onto the track and enjoying some racing action, because he doesn't really get a whole lot of opportunities to get out on the track due to the fact that he's regularly commentating and also runs the GT3 series over at Simplay Motorsport, the Pro and Pro-Am series running on Wednesdays and Thursday nights. So when he does get out on the track, he really wants to make the most of it, and he's got some pretty serious talent behind the wheel as well, as Matimovic. You see on the timing boards, you see also over in the GT5s on Project Cars 2, which he'll be racing in later on tonight. He's really has got some speed in pretty much everything. So when he does get out on the track, he shows what he's got. Shows he's not just good about talking about it, he's also good at doing it as well. Here he comes up towards the line. Can Matimovic improve his lap? He has done. He's done a brilliant lap there. Matimovic puts it on provisional pole by 600ths of a second. He pushes his teammate Gary down. So unorthodox now on a lap time, but Matimovic there putting a brilliant time there at the top of that leaderboard. Unorthodox is really going to have to go for it now. Champ in the comments section saying, got a root for my fellow Packers fan in P3, or Champ, he's now in P1. Look at that from the man in the racing point. The Green Bay Packers there. Oh Jesus, Green Bay Packers fan Matimovic there putting it at the top of the leaderboard. Sergio saying, guys on mediums are really fast. Well done. Absolutely, but looks like the soft tyres very much ruling the qualifying session here, Sergis. As it looks like Unorthodox has backed out of his lap time there, because he's got well out of it coming up towards the hairpin. So I think his chances of taking pole position off Matimovic have gone for the time being. Sergis in the comments saying, what a lap from Matimovic. Absolutely. Unorthodox coming into the pits at the end of the session. Manu goes P1. Where did that come from? From YTC Manu. He's just gone to the top of the leaderboard there. That came from nowhere. What a time there from him in the Alfa Romeo. It is now Manu on P1. Matimovic second in this quali session. Gary P3. Unorthodox gold standard. Is he still out on a lap time? I don't think he is. So everybody at the end of the session switching to the soft tyres, pretty much doing their fastest start time of the session. But Manu there came in at the 11th hour and really delivered. Fury's granddad there saying we won't mention Wigan then, Matt. I don't know what happened to Wigan today, but we're just hearing a team radio from Unorthodox, the man in P4.
Hello Andy, hello everyone. Yeah, I believe Manu might have had a tow down the back straight from his teammate, so I think that's where that lap time came from.
That would explain that, yeah, because it was absolutely phenomenal time there from him. I mean, half a second clear of Matimovic. You all improved at the end of the session there, but he just pulled a lap from nowhere. He wasn't really a contender for most of that session.
I misjudged the conditions. It started off grey and horrible, and now it's sunny out there, so the conditions are more heat in the tyres. So I can do a 31.0, but I did it at the wrong time. So yeah, so it's just about timings really here in this session. So unfortunate there for you, Dan. But starting P4 in this race, not too far off. Yeah, it's going to be a good start for you, and you were at the top of that leaderboard for a long time in that quali session. Does that feel disappointing to you, or do you still have hope going into the race? No, it's just I'm near the front. I'm out of the chaos, so it's what it is, you know. It's just what we're gonna have to deal with. So it's just staying out of trouble and keeping my nose clean. That's the plan. Absolutely.
Well, positive outlook there from yourself, and best of luck. Obviously, coming into this 8th in the championship standings. So this, I believe, your best qualifying of the season. Is that right?
Yes, just up by 1 place. Vietnam, I started 5th. Here, I start 4th. So I'm slowly creeping up to the front.
So it's progress, and you know, small steps. You should be up the front in no time there, Dan. But White. I don't know why I keep saying WTC. YTC Manu there doing an absolutely phenomenal time, and it looks like we're about to go to the race for round 4 of the season. This is the Chinese Grand Prix here for Motive Racing's Formula 1 Championship here on F1 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, a big warm welcome to those just joining us on the Motive Racing channel. If you do enjoy the action out on track tonight, make sure you drop a like on this video, subscribe if you want to see more of this. As we see, there is an AI in the session, even though
I did not select an AI to be partaking, but yes, don't know what's happened there. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Shanghai International Circuit. We're here for round 4 of the season for Motive Racing's Formula 1 Championship here on F1 2020 Chinese Grand Prix. We are ready to rock and roll. We're just on the formation lap here. These guys just getting their tyres warmed up, getting ready to take the green flag for this one. So it's YTC Manu taking pole position there right at the end of the session, putting in a fantastic lap time right at the death. And YTC Manu will be hoping to build on what's been a reasonable start to the season. Was on the podium in the first race at Australia, finished 7th in Bahrain, and followed that up with unfortunate wasn't able to turn up last week at Vietnam. So YTC Manu will be looking to minimise the damage done by his no-show last time out, and he comes into this 6th in the championship despite missing a round. So very solid form from Manu. Matahimovic will line up alongside him on the front row. Matahimovic comes into this one 4th in the championship, 32 points behind Just Jose, the championship leader. Just Jose sat on 64 points. Matahimovic has taken a 4th, a 6th and a 4th so far this season, so that's pretty good form from Matahimovic, and he deserves to be sort of high flying in the championship right now. 3rd place in this grid we've got Gary 131. Gary 7th in the championship standings coming into this, took a 3rd at Bahrain but took a DNF and an 8th place in Australia and Vietnam. Obviously the DNF being on the first lap of Australia, he'll be looking to make up for that throughout the course of this season. Unorthodox lining up on the 2nd row, 4th place start for him, his best qualifying of the season so far. It's been a little bit hit and miss for this man so far this season. A DNF at Australia, followed up with a 5th at Bahrain, a 6th at Vietnam, so he'll be looking to probably get himself onto the podium for this one, as the grid are just coming around now to form up, and we are moments away from the green light, from lights out here in Shanghai. YTC Manu, I'm just going to start calling him Manu because this is ridiculous. Manu lining up at the front of the grid on pole position. Matahimovic alongside him in the racing point. Gary, Matahimovic's teammate, lining up behind him on the 2nd row. Unorthodox in 4th, and looks like we're almost lights out here in China. And it is lights out Is it? What's going on here? I can't see what's going on. What is going on? Oh, I just heard the engines were just going off. That was really weird there. Right, there we go. Lights out and away we go. And it looks like it's a good start there from Manu. Gets nicely off the line. It looks like we've already got somebody charging through there. Gold Standard's made an unbelievable start. Is he up to second place around the outside there of Matimovic? It looks like Gold Standard has brilliantly got off the line. But it looks like we've got a VSC already. There's a crash in the back. What's happened in the background there? It looks like we're all safely through turns 1 and 2. But the patch bunching up already there. A VSC after the first couple of corners. But what a start there from Gold Standard. Really got off the line nicely. It looks like Gary down to P4. And also lost the position. Keegs down to 6th place. Green Pies managed to get himself up into 7th place. Leon Fernie, Emo Guy, looks like Gary, Emo Guy, Fury and Brown McCluse all with penalties already in this race, so clearly something's gone on there. I don't know whether that's collisions or what, or if they cut corners on the inside of the track, but whatever's happened there, they've obviously overstepped the mark a little bit, but not all 19 cars through the first corner safely here on lap 1. Let's hope there's not too much damage on any of the cars, but looks like the VSC's ended and we are green once again here. So Manu puts his foot to the floor and he's already put a lot of space between himself and Matahimovic. There's Gold Standard after that amazing start, running just behind him. It looks like we've got Gary there, Unorthodox, and look, Green Pie's just ahead of Leon Fernie. Looks like Emo Guy trying to line up his teammate there on Leon Fernie. Spider-Man and Beck Huingadoo currently battling over 10th and 11th places. GDBO there looks like he's got ahead of Redding. What's happened to Redding? Redding getting pushed out there. He looks like Jaffa Cakes up the inside. Oh, his teammate squeezed him out there, and you see Redding just almost losing the car there. Brown McClue's up into 14th place there. DJ Phil just behind him. Fury, just Jose and NJ at the back of the field. The championship leader, just Jose, really struggling here at the start of this race. We can see him crawling over the grass there in the background. Well, that's Fury even crawling over the grass. So not a great start there for Fury, down to 18th place at the beginning of this race, but Manu leads this field and he's pulling away at the front. As we see, there's a couple of guys coming into the pits at the end of the first lap. That's Gary there making his stop, as we see Matahimovic trying to fend off Gold Standard for second and third. There's Unorthodox. Looks like we had Green Pies looking to the inside of Keeks, trying to move into turn 1, couldn't quite do it. For the time being, there's Penguin Dude in 10th place, GDBO running in 11th place with Jaffa Cake, Brown McClue's pretty close behind him. Redding, after that little moment there we saw coming out onto the back straight, running in 14th place. DJ Phil sat down in P15 right now, and there is Gary undergoing some, well, probably some repairs on that car after what was a little bit of a chaotic first lap for a few of these guys. Just Jose, the championship leader, into the pits as well from 17th place. Fury in the pits, NJ in the pits, lots of drivers in the pits here at the beginning of this race, but it is Matahimovic who currently leads by half a second to Gold Standard, and it looks like Unorthodox trying to close on the back of these guys as well. So this is quite a close battle here at the front of the pack. It looks like nothing to separate these three at the front, as we see Keegs there trying to fend off Green Pies. Green Pies is absolutely hassling the back of him right now. What is going on here? Why have I got nothing on the screen? Alright, so yeah, Keegs really trying to fend off Green Pies right now. You can see there, he's just about within 0.4 of a second. He won't have DRS at the moment because it's only lap 2 of the race, and DRS does not get enabled until lap 3, so he's going to have to get it done purely on grunt from that car. Is he going to have the pace to do it as they come into the braking zone for the hairpin? Is he going to send one up the inside? He thinks about it, but then thinks better at that one. Keegs keeping it pinned on the inside and not allowing Green Pies to find a way through. Unorthodox is up into second place ahead of Gold Standard. He's made that move, cut probably into the hairpin just ahead of those two. We were watching Keegs and Green Pies as Unorthodox got himself up into second, but Matahimovic leads this race. And what happened to Manu there? Manu's dropped off. Manu was leading the race at the end of the first lap, but he's now down to 9th place, so that is GDBO up a position into 8th. Has Manu got damage on the car? Hopefully not. We'd hope that he is that everything's all good with that car, because that would be a disaster for Manu if he's going to drop back in this race after taking such a great pole position. But Matahimovic, now the race leader here. So Matahimovic really setting a strong pace in this race. Unorthodox there, running in second place after making that move on Gold Standard.
I think Manu has had internet issues or something.
Oh, he's had internet issues. Was he lagging?
He had a cross on his name, so I'm assuming that's internet issues.
Yeah, very possibly. Well, we're currently watching Keegs here, pulling up onto the back of Gold Standard a little bit, but Green Pie still hassling the back of Keegs as they come to the end of this straight here, into the braking zone. Keegs a little bit late on the brakes, keeping it pinned to the apex though very nicely. Green Pies will have DRS coming out onto the back straight though, because he is clearly within a second. You can see very much in striking distance here as they come out onto the straight. Will Keegs have DRS from Gold Standard though? I don't think he will. I think he's just out of that second window. As we see, Green Pies is going to have that done before we even get to the DRS zone. He's going to breeze, but cast him coming down towards the hairpin, and that is Green Pies up into 4th place. Keegs having a little look to the inside, trying to go back on him, and also he runs into the back of him a little bit, and Keegs there losing the part of his front wing end plate there as he ran into the side of Green Pies. He's going to have to back out of that one, but Green Pies up into 4th place, and it looks like he gets that one done relatively harm-free there, but Keegs there tried to come back at him and it wasn't going to work. He just ran into the back of him a little bit and lost a bit of his front wing as a result. There is Leon Fernie currently running just a couple of seconds down the road from Keegs now. Looks like he's closing in on them as well there in that Mercedes. So Leon Fernie really getting some good work done here at the beginning of this race. There's GDBO running in 7th. Jaffa Cake, Brown Recluse trying to close in on Jaffa Cake a little bit. Emo Guy just dropped off a little bit of these guys. 3 seconds behind Brown Recluse right now. There is Manu having started this race on pole position and leading the opening couple of laps. He is now down in 11th place here in this race. It's all gone horribly wrong there for Manu. DJ Phil currently running in P12. Spider-Man Penguin Dude and Redding, Gary, Just Jose Fury and NJ have all been into the pits already here in this race. We'll bring up the tyres now and have a look to see exactly what's the situation here. So yeah, it looks like they've changed tyres. Gary and Just Jose on the hards. I wonder if they're going to try and go the full distance there on those hard tyres. They probably need the they probably not need a safety car. That'd be the last thing they'd need if they're going to make that strategy work. But Matahimovic leading this race at the moment and pulling away over Unorthodox. Matahimovic really making the most of having this lead handed to him on a plate by Manu's little woes on the opening couple of laps. It looks like Gold Standard now really closing up onto the back of Unorthodox here. Is he going to be able to make the move coming into the hairpin? He's having a little look to the inside. Unorthodox a little bit wide, but keeping it just about onto the racing line. Green Pies looking at the outside now of Gold Standard as well as they come in towards the final corner. Is he going to be able to get around him? No, he's not. He has to back out. Gold Standard going very wide there out of the last corner. You can get away with that one very easily here when you've got regular corner cutting stringency here. It's pretty easy to get away with that one, but at the moment Green Pies having to tuck in behind Gold Standard, not finding a way through, but Gold Standard goes a little bit out of shape there coming through turns 2 and 3, and a bit of a tap in the rear there from Green Pies as he tries to get around Gold Standard, but he's not going to be able to get that one done right now. He's pulled alongside him though. He's going to have to get around the outside of turn 5 here if he's going to get up into P3. It looks like the Haas car just defending on the inside. Alfa Romeo even, sorry. And the McLaren gets around the outside. Green Pies up into 3rd place. Reasonably routine stuff there from Green Pies, and he's running on the medium tyres as well, so when you take that into account, he's doing a really great job keeping with these soft runners. Next up for him will be Unorthodox just in front of him, so is Green Pies going to be able to pick up this P2 here in this race? Matahimovic, the race leader, just stretching out his advantage at the front, pulling away by about a second a lap at the moment, running on the soft tyres, but pretty much so is everybody, all the way down to GDBO in 7th place. And then from GDBO downwards, it's pretty much all medium runners, although it looks like GDBO's got ahead of Keegs there. So GDBO getting into 6th place there, Keegs now down to 7th. But yeah, everybody on the softs from 1st to 5th, excluding Green Pies. You've got Keegs in 7th on the softs. Then everybody from 8th to 15th down is on mediums. And you've got Just Jose and Gary on the hard tyres. I wonder if these two are trying to go to the end. I mentioned that earlier on. They could possibly be trying to stretch the stint out until the checkered flag. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. As we can see there, Just Jose getting around Reading up into 15th place. Championship leader Just Jose not having the best of starts to this race. But I'm sure he's going to be wanting to come back in this race and get as good points as he can. It's not going to be easy for him to get any points tonight though in the position that he's currently in. As we see Unorthodox into the pits, Gold Standard likewise, Leon Fernie and Keegs, all those 4 guys coming into the pits here at the end of lap 5. No safety cars so far in this race, quite a surprise, not something we would have expected here. First 3 races of the season we've had safety cars all near the beginning of the race. First 2 rounds of the season we had safety cars on the first lap. As we see Keegs there changing his front wing. So and the Haas team are double stacking here. Brown Recluse coming in straight after Keegs, and that is not going to help him one bit because he's had to wait in the pit box behind Keegs. Keegs is released, but he definitely got held up by about 5 seconds there. That's not going to help Brown Recluse's race one bit. As we can see, Emo Guy closing up onto the back of Jaffa Cake for 4th place here in this race. These two have still yet to pit, running on the medium tyres. They should be able to go a fair way into this stint. And presumably still on course for a one-stop strategy, barring any safety cars here in this race. Let's ride on board with Ian and see what he's seeing. He's going to want to get up ahead of Jaffa Cake as soon as he can, get into some clean air, and try and chase down the guys up ahead if he can. But coming into the braking zone, Jaffa Cake just a little bit too far back coming into that section of the track. Manu looks like he's right on the back of DJ Phil here. Manu started this one on pole position. Phil goes a little bit deep into that corner there. Manu's going to have to do a bit of lawn mowing on the inside there. Is DJ Phil going to be able to come back at him? It looks like he is. DJ Phil's back up the inside there. Back up into 11th place, so very nicely done there from DJ Phil, not lying down, not taking that one easily, but Manu's got a nice run here coming out of this never-ending right-hander which leads onto the back straight. I believe Manu was behind coming into the DRS detection zone as well, so he should have DRS coming down this section of the track. He does indeed. You can see there, flicks that little left panel on the steering wheel and he's going to have DRS advantage. It looks like he should have that one done on Phil now. Surely he's going to have pulled away coming into the braking zone. We'll see once the camera pans out. Yes, he did. Manu's up into 11th place, into some clean air. Very nicely done there from Manu. Keeg's currently pulling up onto the back of DJ Phil right now. This is the battle for 12th and 13th places here in this race.
I've jumped Matt, Andy.
Just doing a team radio there from Unorthodox saying that he's managed to jump Matahimovic there in the pit stops. He's done absolute bits there, has Unorthodox, as he tries to thread the needle between Emo Guy and Jaffa Cake. Ian has got ahead of Jaffa Cake up into 4th place. But Matahimovic was leading this race, but he's obviously had some kind of mare in the pit stops. It's dropped him back now. He's behind Unorthodox. Unorthodox has really got the hammer down. But yeah, the 5-second penalty might come to bite you by the time we get to the end of this race. Dan, you've really got to get the hammer down in this one. But you're in some...
on the radar as well.
Well, that could potentially even it out a bit. Oh, as we see Jaffa Cake getting loose there, off onto the grass, getting a little bit too heavy onto the loud pedal. He's probably going to find himself behind Spider-Man and Leon Fernie. It looks like those guys getting ahead of him. Penguin Dude now onto the back of Jaffa Cake. Jaffa Cake's lost it again there. So he's really struggling now in that Red Bull. That number 21, you see him just reversing off at the track. Be careful there, Jaffa Cake. You've got guys coming through there. And he looks like he rejoins right into the path of DJ Phil there. Not what you want to see from Jaffa Cake. It looks like Brown McCluse is closing up onto the back of NJ. This is a battle for 16th place right now. Brown McCluse on some fresh hard tyres. NJ on the mediums which he pitted for at the end of lap 3. So it looks like Brown McCluse really wanted to get on with this one, get into some clean air, and Brown McCluse, I'm pretty sure, will be able to go to the end on those hard tyres, so he'll be hoping that there are no safety cars before the end of this race for sure. So the race leader green pies at the moment, but he will most likely not be the race leader by the time the pit stop phases is done. Although, to be fair to him, he was closing in on Matahimovic and Unorthodox, and obviously Unorthodox getting ahead of Matahimovic in the pits. So I don't know, if green pies continues the pace he's going at, he may end up jumping Unorthodox and Matahimovic. Obviously this will be for the net race lead here. Gold Standard also been into the pits about a second behind these two. Spider-Man a little way behind, so really the battle for the lead is going to be between Green Pies, Unorthodox, Matahimovic and Gold Standard. These are the 4 guys who are really in contention for this race win here tonight. As we can see, Leon Fernie closing up a little bit onto the rear end of Spider-Man, coming through the middle sector here. Let's ride on board with Leon Fernie and see what he's seeing. He might be able to, if he can stay within a second through this section, he'll have DRS for the back straight. Leon Fernie driving in a Mercedes AMG, making his first season here at Motive Racing. He drives over on Project Cars 2 in the GTEs and the GT5s, and he's racing here on the F1 2020 game, and he's doing a great job here on F1 as well. He's got the DRS here coming down towards the hairpin, but I think he's a bit too far back to go for the move into this corner. No, he's going to go for it. He's going to commit himself down the inside, and Spider-Man has to give him the space there. Tried to close the door, but Leon Fernie has pulled off an absolutely fantastic overtake there. He's up into 6th place. He came from absolutely nowhere. He came from miles back, but Spider-Man, to be fair to him, gave him the space and saw him coming, and that is Leon Fernie up into 6th place there. Brilliant move from Leon Fernie. Looking back through the pack, it looks like GJ Phil is right on the back of Just Jose here as they're coming into the last corner. Looks like Just Jose holding on to that one for now, and Just Jose has got DRS. You see DJ Phil did not pick it up coming down the pit straight, so he's had to slot in there. So Just Jose was obviously behind Phil when they came into the DRS detection zone. Just Jose looks like he's going to have that one done. He's now going to start pulling away from DJ Phil. Just Jose though, having a difficult night tonight. The championship leader's taken a first, a second and a second so far this season. Leads the championship by 11 points over Green Pies, but this is not what he would have wanted. His championship rival currently in the lead of this race, although maybe not the net lead of the race. It depends on what sort of pace Unorthodox and Matahimovic do in the laps that Green Pies is currently out in front. But Green Pies has got clear air and is very much in the box seat. He's coming into the pits now, actually, as Green Pies. So he's changing those medium tyres. He looks like surely he's going to have to pit for another set of medium tyres, or he's going to have to go for the hards. He would have to, if he's going to do a one-stop, he's going to have to go onto the hards, because he's not going to make the soft tyres last 19 laps. There's no chance of that. We're just hearing a team radio from it's the hard tyres for Green Pies, so he's going to try and go to the end on the hard tyres. He's going to go for the one-stop here, but crucially, Unorthodox and Matahimovic are going to be on the medium tyres here. They're going to have a big advantage in terms of pace, although I don't know whether Unorthodox and Matahimovic will be able to go to the end. The question of that is still yet to be answered.
My engineer is just contacting me and saying that 15 minutes till rain.
Oh, we are just hearing rain is on the radar here, so Green Pies there, changing to the hard tyres. Maybe a bit unnecessary for him. He could have put the soft tyres on, because obviously when there's wet conditions here in the Formula 1 Championship, it means that the two tyre compound rule is effectively out of the window. You do not have to use two different dry compound tyres if it rains, so Green Pies maybe missing a trick there. Could have put the soft tyres on, waited for the rain to come. But having said that, though, if the rain didn't come, then he would have looked pretty silly having to make another pit stop. So maybe just playing it cautious here with Green Pies. But he's currently come out in third place. He's split Unorthodox and Matahimovic, the two who we were tooting for the race win. It's going to be between Unorthodox, Green Pies and Matahimovic, I reckon, for tonight's victory, unless the rain really throws a spanner in the works for these guys. GDPO currently leads this race though by 9.5 seconds at the front of the field. Still yet to come in to the pits though. Looks like Manu's really putting pressure now on Leon Fernie for 6th place. You can see there he's going to have DRS coming down the back straight. Is he going to be close enough to get a good run though? Also noticing on the timing screen, Matahimovic all over the back of Green Pies, couldn't make that move coming into the hairpin. But look at Manu there, he's got fantastic closing speed coming into the braking zone, looks to the inside, Leon Fernie on the outside, holding his line there really nicely through the corner, and it looks like Leon Fernie still holding on to that position just about at the moment, and Matahimovic up the inside of Green Pies into turn 1. Has he got that one done? I think he has. The Racing Point has got ahead of the McLaren there. Brilliant move from Matahimovic, but Green Pies still fighting back here, coming through turn 3 and just squeezes him out of the way there. Green Pies holding on to P3 by the skin of his teeth. Fantastic driving from these two, and it looks like Green Pies just about clinging on to that P3. But Matahimovic on those medium tyres is going to want to make the most of that tyre advantage and get ahead of them as soon as he can. But these two, while they're fighting each other, it's going to be allowing Unorthodox to pull away there in 2nd place, or what is a net lead once GDBO comes into the pits. Great racing here, a lap 11 of 28, so we're not even halfway through this race. The strategy still very much yet to play out here. We're expecting rain on the forecast, but whether or not it comes is another story. Leon Fernie, having been overtaken by Manu, still sticking to the back of him, not allowing him to drive off into the distance. Looks like Emo Guy's pulled up to within 1.2 seconds now of DJ Phil, so Ian's going to be fancying making a move on Phil, I'm sure, pretty soon. This will be for 12th place. But Emo Guy, so far this season in the F1 Championship here at Motive, sat in 11th place, has taken 6 points from the opening 3 rounds. All of those 6 points were actually earned in the first round at Australia. We see him going at the inside there of DJ Phil, up into 12th place. Very nicely done there from Ian, as we see Fury putting over to the side of the road there. A couple of laps down on these guys, but Ian there, up position, and that was pretty routine there from our Mercedes driver, getting ahead of the Williams. Looks like Matahimovic is still really hassling the back of Green Pies as they come into turn 1. Also Penguin Dude looks like he's trying to get a move done here on Spider-Man. Is he going to be able to do it into the last corner? Looks like Spider-Man getting a little bit compromised on the exit of the penultimate corner of the lap, and that is Penguin Dude round the outside of the last corner and up into 8th place. Spider-Man didn't seem to fight that very hard at all there. Penguin Dude into some clean air. Nice move there from Penguin Dude. Back to Matahimovic, still really putting the pressure on Green Pies right now. Green Pies came into this round 2nd in the championship. Currently as it stands, Green Pies could be in with a good shout of taking the championship lead. His championship rival, Just Jose, down in 11th place, although we do believe Just Jose can go to the end on those hard tyres. So once Green Pies comes in, it might actually be pretty close between those two. But Just Jose will have obviously a slower car due to the fact that his tyres are hard tyres. The hard tyres not as quick as the medium compound. Soft compound the quickest of the 3, but they don't really last very long, especially around this track. You're not really putting yourself in a good position if you put those tyres on around a 50% race. But just Jose there getting ahead of Spider-Man up into 10th place. Pretty routine stuff there from just Jose. It's Matahimovic still very close to the back of Green Pies right now, but can't quite get around him at the moment. It's been stuck behind him for a few laps. Green Pies running on the hards, Matahimovic on the yellow marked medium compound, and he still can't find a way through past that McLaren just at the moment. Matahimovic, we mentioned earlier on, finished 4th in the opening round at Australia, 6th at Bahrain, 4th last week at Vietnam, so he's had some good finishes here in this F1 Championship, showing that he's not just a hell of a commentator. Those of you who didn't already know, Matahimovic commentates on the Clios and the touring cars, otherwise known as Matthew Duffin. He does a phenomenal job on all of those championships that he commentates on. I commentate alongside him in the Clios for the Tier 2s. Absolute pleasure as always to join him in the box, but it's also nice to see him getting out on track and showing what he can do on the grey stuff as well as in the commentary box. But it looks like he's just lost a bit of time to Green Pies on that lap so far. Green Pies looks like he's really got those hard tyres working nicely here. They'll last to the end of the race, we know that. Obviously he put them on lap 11, so 17 laps on hard tyres. Not very much of a stretch at all for those things. They will easily do that. But we are expecting rain on the forecast, so it's a case of when that comes down. It might not even come, but we are very much expecting rain. We have heard from multiple sources that there will be rain before the end of the race. We heard it will be 15 minutes, and that was about 5 minutes ago, so I would expect to see rain probably by about lap 19 or 20. That's what we're expecting, but we'll have to hold our horses and wait and see. So unorthodox leading this race. Green Pies and Matahimovic have both been closing the gap to our race leader over the course of the last couple of the laps, and now our Renault driver has very much got the McLaren breathing down his neck here. And Green Pies is really in the box seat here because he's running on the hard tyres. He still seems to have such scorching pace, better pace than the other two guys, and faster than Gold Standard as well. Gold Standard, don't rule him out, still running in P4, not far off of these guys at all. Green Pies obviously on the hard tyres can go to the end of the race, but we know that if the rain does come down, then that's going to be rendered completely redundant. Manu currently running in P5 after a promising start to the race, was on pole position, led the opening couple of laps, made a mistake at the end of the first lap, which we missed on the stream, but he dropped way back down to the mid-pack. He's currently sat in 5th, so he's recovered, he's made his way back through the mid-pack, he's currently best of the rest, but these four leaders, unorthodox Green Pies, Matahimovic and Gold Standard, currently the ones who look like it's going to be one of these four guys for sure taking the win tonight at Shanghai. I'm just hearing a team radio there from Unorthodox. His front tyres are really struggling, so he needs the rain to come down as soon as possible. Only 7 laps into this stint on the medium tyres, Dan. That doesn't bode well for you at the moment. Obviously, the medium tyres are supposed to last about, I would say, between 12 and 15 laps. So how does that, have you been really pushing those?
I went wrong way with setup. Turn 1 is really hurting them.
It doesn't sound good at the moment, but Dan, you're still holding off Green Pies right now. You're actually pulling away a little bit from Matahimovic and Gold Standard. So at this stage in the race, you just got to really stick with it and hope the rain comes down. We are expecting it to come in about 5 minutes time. So if you can keep out...
I just had a message from my engineer saying that it's in a couple of laps time, so just keep going.
That's it, yeah, you just got to long the stint out and wait for it to come. But yeah, Green Pie is really on a mission right now, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he is absolutely flying. You've got Matahimovic dropped off a little bit off of the back of Green Pies. Gold Standard there, sat in P4 right behind Matahimovic. Looks like he's closing up onto the rear end of him. Gold Standard might fancy getting a up into P3 here. He could have DRS if he can just gain a couple of tenths coming through this section here. He'll have DRS for the back straight. But it looks like Matt's actually pulled out a bit through that section. Oh, Gold Standard getting really loose there onto the AstroTurf. Coming out onto the back straight. Looks like GDBO actually closing back onto the back of Manu right now. 4/10 separating these guys, and GDBO running on the hards. It looks like the hard tyres are pretty strong around here tonight. He's going to have DRS here coming down towards the hairpin. I think he's a little bit too far back to go for a move into the braking zone. See, just going to slot in behind there. He's just not in really a position to challenge. And Manu holding on to 5th place right now, but GDBO looking like he really wants to get on with this one. But Green Pies still putting the pressure on Unorthodox. When is the rain going to come? Dan will be wanting it to come as soon as possible, because we know that those medium tyres really struggling at this stage in the race, but we also know that Unorthodox could possibly have a setup that is suited to the wet conditions. We know that his front tyres are really struggling through some of the corners, so potentially some understeer kicking in through the higher speed corners that maybe will benefit him in the wet conditions. We'll have to wait and see. But Green Pies continuing to pile that pressure on. Penguin Dude there sat in 9th just behind Keegs, just Jose very close behind these two as well. Currently a 2.5 separating these 3 drivers as they are coming around on lap 16 of this race. Keegs running on the mediums, likewise Penguin Dude, just Jose, the championship leader, running on the hards. We believe just Jose might be able to go to the end. It would be a really long stint for just Jose if he can long it out to the end though. He'd have to go 25 laps on the hard tyres. It's doable.
Green Pies is in my DRS.
Green Pies very close here, coming into the hairpin on Unorthodox. This is for the race lead here, coming into the braking zone. It looks like he's not going to be close enough to go for the move just about now. We're expecting the rain to come down pretty much this lap or the next one, but still no sign at the heavens opening right now, as Unorthodox kicks up a little bit of the grass there coming through the last corner. We're coming over the line now to complete lap 16, onto lap 17. Green Pies has got DRS, but he's not close enough to really present a challenge just at this point here in the race. He's putting the pressure on, letting Unorthodox know that he's there, but not quite really able to impose himself on Unorthodox just at this point. GDBO still very close behind Manu right now, but Manu looks like he's closed, or sorry, he's just managed to extend a little bit coming through that sector there. As we see, there is somebody just ahead of them as well. Is that Gold Stand? No, it's not Gold Stand, it's a lap car by the looks of it. I think that might be NJ just in front of them. Yeah, it is indeed. So NJ's just in front of these guys on the track. He will have to yield for the blue flags in a few moments. But yeah, GDBO putting a pressure on Manu right now. Also, it looks like Penguin Dude currently trying to give Keegs a bit of a headache there. But it looks like Penguin Dude's just been passed by just Jose. So just Jose up into 9th place. And it looks like Penguin Dude had a little look to the inside, tried to come back at him, but that is just Jose up into 9th place and into some clean air. He can now try and chase down Keegs. It has been a great comeback drive from just Jose here, driving on those white wall hard tyres. We just see team radio there. Unorthodox is out to defend here, coming into the hairpin. Looks like Green Pies is up the inside. Has he got that one done though, or is Unorthodox going to go on the cut? He's done that brilliantly, has done. Defence to attack in the splink of an eye there. It looked like he'd been passed up the inside by Green Pies, but Dan just well and truly suckered him out of the corner, and he's back up into P1 there. Dan is defending this for everything he's got. He's going to have to defend to the inside, coming up towards turn 1. Green Pies has got a great run. He's put it to the outside. He looks like he's going to drive around the outside of turn 1. The McLaren has pulled off a brilliant overtake there, and Dan's got sideways. He's off the track. He's off onto the runoff area and onto the grass, and Dan is down to 4th place there. Green Pies up into the lead of the race, but Dan there just getting a bit sideways, went a little bit over the top on the defence. He's going to have to fight back here in this race. The rain could not come any sooner for Dan. He needs it to fall. He needs an avenue back into this race, but Green Pies now leads this race, and he's got 2 seconds back to Matimovic in 2nd place. This has really thrown a different dimension into this race now. Now Green Pies has the lead, and we're into the final 10 laps here at Shanghai. He just needs to manage what he's got here. He's on the hard tyres. He will easily make this to the end, but we are hearing that rain may be very soon on the radar. It's a question of when, surely, rather than if, at this point. But Green Pies has got 2.5 seconds back to Matimovic. Then Gold Standard, 1.5 seconds behind Matimovic. There is Unorthodox, currently about 7-8 seconds off of the leader right now, after that little half spin you saw coming through turn 1. Manu trying to fend off GDBO. Looks like Manu's put just over a second between himself and GDBO right now. Keegs has got just Jose crawling all over the back of him in this battle for 8th place. These guys have put a bit of a gap back to Penguin Dude in 10th. It's right on board with Just Jose here and see if he can get anything done with Keys coming into that braking zone. He's not quite close enough just at the moment, but really piling this pressure on at the moment is Just Jose here on lap 19 of this race at Shanghai International Circuit. Green Pies leads this race. The man who came into this race sat in second in the championship knows that Just Jose not having the best of races, as Just Jose is trying to make the move here on Keegs for 8th place. He's going to have the inside coming into the hairpin, and I think that is job done there for Just Jose. It is indeed. Keegs not fighting that one too hard, but Just Jose running in 8th place. His championship rival Green Pies currently in first and pulling away at the front of the field. Green Pies came into this round 11 points behind Just Jose in the championship. Just Jose was on 64, Green Pies 53. Green Pies keeps doing what he's doing. If he is able to take the race win and Just Jose finishes lower than third, then Green Pies will come away from China with the championship lead, and it will be the first time that he's at the championship this season. Obviously he came very close to winning the opening round at Australia, but lost it due to a last lap calamity when he went a bit wide, tapped the barrier, gifted the win to Just Jose. He took the win the following week at Bahrain, but Just Jose, having taken 2 fastest laps at that point in the season, led the championship by 2 points. We went on to Vietnam, where Just Jose took a P2 compared to Green Pies finishing in 5th. So it's very much Just Jose who's had the rub of the green so far this season, but Green Pies really having an absolute stellar race and looking quite good here to take a possible championship lead once we leave Shanghai here tonight. It's got a 2.5 second gap back to this man Matahimovic, who came into this sat in 4th in the championship.
We have rain, Andy.
Yeah, we are just hearing reports from our in-race reporter Unorthodox that rain is falling, and Unorthodox, unsurprisingly, the first man to come into the pits. He's got nothing to lose at this point. He's got a bit of a gap back to Manu. He really wants to fight the front three, Green Pies, Matimovic and Gold Standard, for this race win, and he's bringing it in presumably for some intermediate tyres here. Let's see if he puts the inters on. Surely it would be the inters. It's only spitting with rain at this point. And we're just hearing he's got another 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane there. Unorthodox overstepping the pit lane speed limit just a little bit.
No, I was serving it, mate. You serve it in the pit lane.
Sorry, my bad. Absolutely, yes you do. So Unorthodox there, serving that 5-second penalty in the pit box. So and also changing onto the intermediate tyres as well. So he will maybe, just maybe, get to grips with these conditions just a little bit quicker than the other guys. But you can see not really any spray coming off the back of the cars just at this point, so the rain not really falling hard enough for the intermediates to gain an awful lot of time just at the moment. And also I'm saying there that those intermediate tyres are really struggling here in these dry conditions right now. The rain's not coming down hard enough. He really needs it to absolutely bucket down here if he wants to have an advantage over these dry runners. No grip, says Unorthodox right now. Green Pies leads this race. Is he going to pull the trigger and come into the pits at the end of this lap? I don't think there's any need to right now. I think the dry tyres still with plenty of grip. Is Green Pies going to come in? No, he's staying out. Matahimovic looks like he is coming into the pits. So Matahimovic pulls the trigger. Gold Standard staying out. What about Manu? He's coming around into the hairpin now. Looks like he's got plenty of grip. He's not struggling at all. He seems pretty nailed down to the track right now. But Matahimovic obviously feeling like his grip was starting to fall off a little bit, or maybe he's just rolling the dice, nothing to lose. Similar situation to Unorthodox really. But Green Pies leads this race by 5.6 seconds right now, and pulling away from Gold Standard. Obviously these guys will probably need to come into the pits before the end of the race. Pies still leading this race on those hard tyres which he's had for the last 10 laps. Realistically he would be able to make those tyres last to the end if it wasn't for the fact that we've got rain falling right now, and that rain's probably going to get to a point where these guys will have to all come in for the intermediate tyres. I don't think we're going to get to wets before the end of this race, but certainly those dry tyres will not be handling like they were earlier on. As we can see there, Gold Standard still looks like the grip's pretty good out there right now though. Matahimovic got the jump on Unorthodox in the pits. Unorthodox is having a mare right now. It looks like he's dropped well out of it. I think that is his chances of the race win gone. Possibly early there. It's caught him out. As Matahimovic, he's not on the mediums.
No grip, Andy.
No grip, says Unorthodox right now. Dan, do you reckon you just changed to the intermediates too early?
They're just cold. They're just freezing cold.
Yeah, you would be struggling to get temperature into them right now. It looks like it's not raining hard enough. It's still very much dry conditions here in this race, as we see Matahimovic trying to get the move done here on Manu. Manu defending to the inside. Looks like we're almost about to go 3 wide coming into the last turn, as GDBO tries to defend from both Matahimovic and Manu. Manu gets passed by Matahimovic, and Matahimovic is going to try and get ahead of GDBO coming down the start-finish straight, as we see Manu into the pits. Presumably he's now changing to inters. Or is he going to try and stay on the soft? Because it looks like Matahimovic changed to another set of softs. He's obviously not expecting the rain to come down hard enough for a change of tyres. Matahimovic, oh, a big slide there as he came out of turn 3 though. So maybe, just maybe, we might be needing a switch to intermediates at some point in this race. You saw there, he got a real slide coming on out of that corner. He's starting to struggle for grip a little bit now by the looks of it. Green Pies still leading this race. He has got a 21-second lead over Matahimovic, obviously because Matahimovic has been into the pits for a change of tyres to the soft. Now this is going to be incredibly tricky. Green Pies seems to be really struggling out there right now. He's having to make constant corrections on that wheel. And is he going to need to come into the pits to make a change to the intermediates? This has turned into a fascinating game of strategy right now. Brown Recluse in the comments saying, keep your head, Keegs, keep going. Currently running in 8th place right now. Keegs has also changed to the inters. Matahimovic is the only driver who's been into the pits for a change of tyres to anything other than the intermediates. He's put the soft tyres on. Green Pie's coming into the pits now, and he's gone very wide there in the pit entry. Done the same thing that Lewis Hamilton did back in 2007. Thankfully nowadays there's tarmac on the exit, so he didn't get caught out by the gravel. But that could have been so nearly curtains there for Green Pies as he brings it into the pits, and he's keep an eye, see what colour. Yep, the green has not worked out at all for Matahimovic, and GDBO doing likewise, coming in to presumably put some intermediate tyres on here. Leon Fernie also coming in intermediate, so it looks like everybody now running on inters bar NJ, who looks like he's also coming in for inters. So the whole field now on inters as we're coming into the final 5 laps of this race. Green Pies currently the man with the ascendancy here in this one, and looks pretty good for taking a championship lead here in this race. His championship rival just Jose really struggling tonight, down in 8th place. If Green Pies just stays where he is and keeps doing what he's doing, then he will come away from Shanghai with the lead in the standings. But still a long way to go, still 5 laps left, and anything can happen in these final 5 laps. Never say it's over until it's over. He's got a 4-second lead back to this man, Gold Standard Matahimovic. Unfortunately the gamble to stay on the dry tyres did not pay off for him, and he's had to come in and make an extra pit stop, but still running in the podium spots right now. He's got 3 seconds back to Manu on the track right now, and looks like Penguin Do closing up onto the back of Keegs in the battle for 9th and 10th places here. Brown Recluse in the comments getting behind Keegs. Obviously Brown Recluse driving in the Haas, unfortunately he had to retire from the race, so he's no longer in the running right now, but his teammate Keegs on for some points here, and maybe might be able to enhance his points in the last part of this race. The man I feel most sorry for right now is Unorthodox though, currently down in 7th place, having made that early pit stop to the inters. It was a little bit too early for him, unfortunately, and those tyres were just really not having it at all in the dry conditions, and it's cost him, unfortunately. But still some good points. He's on course for 6 points here in this race, which will be a solid for his championship standings. But everyone a bit strung out now as we're coming into the final few laps of the race. Green Pies currently got 4 seconds over Gold Standard right now, and he looks like he's the fastest man out on track as well. So Green Pies showing why he is out the front, and why he has been up the front for pretty much every race so far this season. Gold Standard looks like he's on course for his best finish of the season so far. Came into this one sat in 9th in the championship standings. His best finish was a P4 at Bahrain, so he was close to coming into the podium in Bahrain, but the other 2 races he wasn't able to turn up, so it really has been a bit of a few and far between for this man, as we see him getting very wide there, all over the curb as he came out onto that little straight before you come into the final sector, but gets away with that one. Matahimovic running in P3, came into this one 4th in the championship. I believe by my calculations that Matahimovic will be 3rd in the championship after this round as it stands, so I'm wouldn't be his first podium if he does overhaul. Make a good job there in that racing point. His last week at Vietnam he took his first podium. Last week at Vietnam he took Apparently my stream's frozen. I don't know why. My upload's about 10.
Follow your trail and I'm losing your mind and I'm losing your head. Let me escape from this love, cause I'm a prisoner. I just want to look my way and never back to you. I'm not above it. Let me be myself. I'm not above it. Let me be myself.
Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little bit of technical difficulties there, as we just had to change our private stream once again. But we are back for the final couple of laps here at Shanghai. Currently Green Pie's leading this race. He's been pretty much the man to beat since the get-go. He's had to pace out there over everybody else. He's had to do this one the hard way though. He had to overtake Matahimovic, unorthodox, gold standard, and he also had to overhaul. Oh, he's got stream just briefly broke up. I think it's the only G. It's not my internet, it's G's. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen, coming into the final few corners of the final lap here. Green Pie's race leader. This man is going to take a big step towards his championship push here. Only round 4 of the season, still very early doors, but he has maximised his potential here in Shanghai tonight. He has really put in the work, has had to do this one the hard way, didn't get the best of starts, but he found himself a bit down the order, but he has pushed on, overtook lots and lots of cars, including Manu Matahimovic, Gold Standard and Unorthodox, and he's going to come into the final corner now, driving in the McLaren. Green Pies took a win at Bahrain, took a second in Australia, a 5th last week at Vietnam. It's going to be the victory here in China. Green Pies takes the checkered flag and takes his 2nd win of the season here in round 4. What a drive from Green Pies. It's going to be the championship lead for this man as well. What a performance. Gold Standard is going to come round to take 2nd here. A great result from him, his first podium in the F1 League here at Motive Racing. Matahimovic is going to come round to take 3rd. So also, I believe, a newcomer to the podium here. What a drive from Matahimovic as well. Really well done. GDBO is going to come out home in 4th there, ahead of Manu. So I think Manu losing 4th place due to a penalty. Looks like Leon Fernie and Just Jose are going to fight this one out to the line, but it looks like Leon Fernie is just going to hold on here ahead of Just Jose. Just Jose picking up 6 points, will lose 19 points to his rival Green Pies. So Green Pies should have a lead of 8 points in the championship, and that's not taking into account fastest laps. We're not sure who got that. Unorthodox is going to come home to finish in 8th place. Could have taken the win in that one, but a disappointing end to the race. Switched to the Inters too early, which really cost him. Keegs is going to come over in 9th place. Gary will be the last driver to complete the race on the lead lap. Here he comes, driving in his racing point. His teammate Matahimovic up in P3, but Gary not having the best of races tonight. Will still pick up a point for his troubles though. That's live on the YouTube stream. Sorry for the bit of lag that we experienced at the end there. Not quite sure what was going on, but yeah. We will see you. We'll see you next week for the for round 5 at Zandvoort. Also join us over on Project Cars 2 in a few moments time for our GT5 Ginetta G40 Super Cup, which is starting a little bit late, but we'll have that up and running very shortly. But from us, it's a very good evening, and we'll see you later.